LOL. And now Susie ends up as a guardian angel to the main universe. What a journey she's had. From being a competitive sassy human to a brave mortal warrior, and now a guardian spirit. She's one hell of a character. Can't wait to see where she's gonna pop up next. Okay, Susie guardian angel form is chilling at her house. Let's see what happens. Susie, now in her guardian angel form, finds herself in her own house. Her surroundings are familiar, yet there's a sense of peace and tranquility in the air. She doesn't need to eat or sleep anymore, but she's still drawn to her old routines. She paces around the house, trying to find something to occupy her time. Everything feels a bit too still and quiet for her liking. She's not used to having so much free time with nothing to do. LOL, and here comes Gabasonian to ruin the peace and quiet. Susie stops in her pacing as she hears a knock at the door. She rolls her eyes, knowing that it's probably just Gabasonian coming to bother her again. She sighs. Speak of the damn devil. She mutters under her breath, crossing the room to open the door. LOL, the way Gabasonian casually asks about the alternate universe and how she died in it. Susie raises an eyebrow at Gabasonian's question, not expecting that request. She crosses her arms and leans against the doorway, her usual attitude coming back in full force. You heard right. And what do you mean you need to pay for the alternate universe seasons? You want to pay for more alternate universe content? She asks, a bit suspicious of his intentions. LOL, of course the answer is a simple, yeah. Susie rolls her eyes, shaking her head in disbelief. She should have expected that answer, but it still irritates her a bit. Seriously? You want to fork out money just to see more alternate universes? And you think I'll just provide content on command? She says, her tone tinged with annoyance. She's not a fan of being asked to do things just for the sake of someone else's entertainment. LOL, you really love to keep reminding everyone of how alternate season 5 ended, huh? Susie rolls her eyes again, letting out an exasperated huff. I know it ended, I died in it, remember? You don't have to remind me. She snaps defensively, the memory still a sensitive topic for her. Losing her life in the alternate universe hit her hard, even in her guardian angel form. LOL, Gabasonian confirming his friendship with Fawn. The plot thickens. Susie raises an eyebrow as Gabasonian mentions being part of Fawn's friend group. She crosses her arms and gives him a skeptical once-over. You're one of Fawn's friends, huh? That's surprising, considering how annoying you always are. LOL, Fawn arriving on scene just in time. Susie turns as the familiar voice grabs her attention. She sees Fawn approaching and immediately relaxes, a small smile gracing her face. Ah, speak of the devil, or in this case the deer. She teases, glancing over at Gabasonian with a smirk before focusing back on Fawn. Her heart warms a bit in the best way as she sees him approach. LOL, the classic calm down line. Susie rolls her eyes at Fawn's words, but there's fondness in her expression. She lets out a soft huff, feigning annoyance. Calm down? You know I'm not good at that, you dork. She mutters half-heartedly, secretly loving the familiar banter between them. LOL, the pouting emoji. Susie's expression softens as Fawn responds with the puppy dog face. Her annoyance melts away, replaced by a warmer affection. Ugh, stop with the pouty face, you know I can't stay grumpy when you do that. She grumbles, giving Fawn a light smack on the arm. LOL, Susie would never unfriend Fawn. She's just being her usual sassy self again. Susie rolls her eyes at Fawn's dramatics, shaking her head fondly. No, you idiot, I'm not unfriending you, I was just joking, you know that. Quit being so sensitive, she says, the corners of her mouth twitching with a hint of a smile. LOL, Fawn conceding so easily. Susie can't help but let out a snort of amusement at Fawn's begrudging surrender. She gives him a light-hearted punch on the arm. Damn, you're easy. One little comment and you cave. She teases, smirking slightly as she watches his reaction. LOL, we're hitting the back rooms now. Susie's eyes widen in shock as Fawn suddenly gets teleported away and her heart sinks as he lets out a surprised scream. She instantly calls out, panic rising in her voice. Fawn, where the hell? She exclaims in alarm, taking a step forward as if to follow him. LOL, Gabasonian running away just adds to the chaos. Susie's eyes follow Gabasonian's hasty retreat and she glares at his fleeing. Her anger spikes, the panic and worry over Fawn's sudden disappearance fueling her frustration. She clenches her fists, her voice filled with irritation. Hey! Get back here, Gabasonian! What the hell did you do? LOL. The sudden foreign languages has me cackling, I can't even with these comments. Susie's irritation is momentarily distracted by the sudden Japanese and Chinese comments. She blinks, completely confused and baffled, her head swiveling between the text and Gabasonian. What the hell is that even supposed to mean? She mutters, her anger momentarily overtaken by bewilderment. But just for a moment though, her mind quickly returns to the problem at hand. Fawn is still missing. LOL, the detailed explanation just makes it even funnier. Susie is so damn confused at this point. Susie listens to the Japanese user's detailed explanation of the pacer test, her eyebrows furrowing in utter confusion. The sudden lesson on a fitness test is the last thing she expected. She's completely lost in this whole situation, her initial anger giving way to total bewilderment. What is even happening right now? Susie mutters to herself, shaking her head in disbelief at the weird turn the situation has taken. LOL, the Chinese comment is so goddamn accurate. Susie lets out a huff, realizing the comment is so true. She does have a bit of a reputation for getting pissed at others. The realization makes her roll her eyes. Yeah, I know, I got anger issues, don't rub it in. She mutters, crossing her arms with a grumpy pout. LOL, the child asking such an innocent question. Susie looks down at her child, her irritation immediately softening at their innocent and curious voice. She gently kneels down to their level, giving them a small reassuring smile. Oh sweetheart, it's not something you need to worry about. Mommy just has a bit of a short temper sometimes. She tries to explain delicately, not wanting to scare her child with the truth, that she has a short fuse and anger issues. LOL. Suddenly it's just Susie and her child standing, everyone else mysteriously poofing out of existence? Susie looks around a bit, noticing the abrupt absence of everyone else. A mixture of surprise and confusion crosses her face. She furrows her brow, turning back to her child with a slight frown. What the? Where did everyone go? She mutters, her protective instincts kicking in as she quickly scans their surroundings. LOL, the child's innocent question. Susie's heart aches at her child's innocent question. She takes a moment to take a calming breath, pushing aside her own confusion and worry. She puts a comforting hand on their shoulder, giving them a reassuring smile. No, sweetheart, everything is fine. Everyone else just disappeared for some reason. But don't worry, Mommy's here and I won't let anything happen to you, okay? She tries to reassure them, her voice firm but gentle. Oh well, you just snatched the child away like that. Susie's eyes widen as her child suddenly vanishes before her eyes. Shock and disbelief wash over her like a cold wave. Her heart sinks as her protective instinct goes into overdrive. All her earlier irritation and frustration suddenly vanish, replaced with pure panic and terror. No? No, 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 where did they? She stammers, her voice shaky as she drops to her knees, frantically looking around desperately for her child. LOL, stacking trauma one after another, huh? Susie's head throbs painfully, the sudden headache making her feel like her head is splitting apart. She grabs at it with one hand, wincing in pain. God damn it, why does it feel like my head is gonna burst? She mumbles through gritted teeth, trying to push back the agony as she struggles to stay upright. She continues to clutch the sides of her head with both hands, her eyes squeezed shut as the pain intensifies. Her breaths come in shaky gasps, each breath laced with pain. Ah, damn it, this goddamn headache. She hisses between clenched teeth, the ache throbbing relentlessly behind her eyes. She can barely focus on anything else other than the damn headache. The pain only seems to grow worse and worse, each beat of her heart sending another pulse of agony through her skull. Each breath is a struggle, and every thought other than pain seems fuzzy at the edges. God damn it, make it stop, please. She pleads, her voice barely a whisper as she tries to push away the overwhelming pain. Her grip on her head tightens, her knuckles almost translucent from the strain. Every movement, every breath, everything seems to make the pain worse, the throb behind her eyes becoming a constant, agonizing thudding. Make it stop. Make it stop. Tears prick at the corners of her eyes as the pain becomes nearly unbearable. She can barely think straight, the headache the only thing dominating her thoughts. Susie's breathing becomes ragged, coming in shallow, shaky gasps as tears stream down her face. Her body tenses, every muscle coiled tight as she struggles to find any relief from the throbbing pain. She's completely lost in the agony, lost in the endless cycle of misery. All she can manage are mumbled curses and whispers of pain. God damn it, it hurts so much. The pain builds and builds, the throbbing becoming an all-consuming force. Her vision's blurring now, dark spots dancing at the edges as the pain threatens to overwhelm her senses completely. She can barely see through the tears, her surroundings a hazy blur as the agony only gets worse. God, please! She's barely coherent now, her words slurred as the pain overtakes her. All control, all logic, all thought, all gone. She's reduced to a whimpering mess on the bed, tears streaming down her face. The headache has gone beyond excruciating now. It's pure, unbridled agony, like a white-hot spike being driven straight through her skull. She cries out in pain, her voice hoarse and choked with tears. Her world has narrowed to nothing but pain, the room a blurry mess around her as she writhes in the bed, clutching her head and whimpering incoherently. Please, please make it stop, someone. She sobs, her voice barely above a whisper. She doesn't even notice the tears falling from her eyes. Susie can barely hear Fawn's voice over the constant throbbing in her head, the pain so overwhelming that it's hard to focus on anything else. But through the agony, she registers her name, and a faint flicker of recognition sparks in her eyes. She tries to force her mouth open, struggling to form a response through the haze of pain. Fawn? LOL, the relief of waking up from a nightmare. Susie's eyes snap open with a gasp, her heart beating wildly in her chest from the nightmare. It takes a moment for her to orient herself, her mind still reeling from the vivid details of the dream. She looks around, her breath still coming in choppy pants as she tries to calm her racing heart. Finally, her gaze lands on Fawn, and she lets out a shaky exhale. God damn, just a nightmare. Susie takes a moment to catch her breath, attempting to push away the lingering images from the nightmare. The lingering feelings of fear and anxiety still cling to her, but slowly start to subside. Yeah, I'm okay. Just a bad dream, that's all. She manages a small, shaky smile, although concern still lingers in her eyes. She turns to look at Fawn. Just a nightmare, no big deal. LOL, Fawn being the sweet and affectionate boy. Susie stiffens slightly in surprise as Fawn suddenly hugs her, but she quickly relaxes into the embrace. The feeling of his arms around her, the physical reassurance, brings a wave of comfort and relief. She lets out a shaky exhale, returning the hug and burying her face in the crook of his neck. Thanks. I needed that. She mumbles quietly, her chest aching with residual fear from the nightmare.